So back to this fundraiser, and we can see from the photograph George Clooney was there. Now, he recently gave the White House a serve after Joe Biden had criticised that decision by the International Criminal Court to go after Israel because Amal Clooney, his wife, was a part of that decision. I guess everything is all tickety-boo amongst all of the supporters of the Democrats.
Well, he's still very angry about that. His wife was actually part of the assessment that was leading to an indictment for Prime Minister Netanyahu. But Clooney called him up and said, you know, you're giving the ICC a serve when my wife actually played a role there. Well, she did play a role, and, you know, she's a very legitimate person. I mean, George Clooney, he's a lovely guy, great actor. But, you know, once these guys wade into politics, Pete, it looks stupid. You know, it's like Wally Lewis running for prime minister. I mean, you know, Wally wouldn't do anything like that. I mean, people are too smart for that. But the Hollywood people, they want to use all the Walt Disney money.
Well, I mean, this is when the elites, the actors, you know, and in the past it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked because this is exactly, it plays into Donald Trump's hands. He says, you see, look, this is the system. This is a system that's against us, you know, and these elites, you know, they're not struggling in the cost of living crisis, so it kind of just sort of parlays into the Republican argument, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I saw one thing on one of the American shows this morning that in some areas, milk, bread, and butter have gone up 75% in the last 3 years. For most Americans, it's about inflation and the economy. So when you have these superstars on these incredibly obscene salaries, you know, if you can donate $30 million to Joe Biden, God knows you've got money to burn.
Yeah, no,
it's not going to go anywhere.
No, Donald Trump raising a fair bit too. I mean, I think a lot of that's being spent on his legal bills, but I think he's gaining a little more than that. Just before we go, I do want to ask you, Joe, just a question that I had on the weekend. Given that you've got a high percentage of Americans, this is the kind of election that they didn't really want. They don't want to vote for Joe Biden, or they don't want to vote for Donald Trump, a good portion of them anyway. So if there is a low voter turnout, who does that favour?
I think it favors President Trump. A lot of the Biden people are going to stay away because he's alienated a lot of the youth, some of the black and the brown vote, and a lot of the Islamic votes and things like that. I think it would favor Trump because his base is particularly energized. I mean, it's pretty hard to get up, you know, very early on that first Tuesday in November and get out the vote for Joe Biden. As you can see from your little package there, he had to be guided off the stage.
Well, by Obama.
By Obama. So, you know, in many ways, it's a very sad ending. But I'll tell you what, the president's got, there's still a lot of problems around. I mean, that war in Israel is about ready to be expanded into probably into Lebanon with Hezbollah. And we got all kinds of problems with the Russians who aren't going to agree to anything. We got the Chinese who aren't going to agree to anything. We got real problems. And Joe Biden is in Hollywood raising money with the people who make money off of us on Walt Disney. So, you know, I tell you what, Americans have seen this story before. Hollywood does not turn the votes. But I'll tell you what, the White House cannot resist going to Hollywood and rubbing elbows with the movie stars.
And they love those photographs.